Converted man here. I was watching Grr Mania, who I love to watch and listen to and eat. I mean I don't love to eat him. Oh, I named myself Eat Meat Man. Why did I do that? Okay, so he has a lot of questions in his video, and I thought that I would respond to them with possible answers. They're my answers or my ideas, and critique the questions and also other stuff that happens in this video. And, it's a good discussion to have. And, I guess I could have waited till he was around and be like, hey, let's have this discussion. But I'm not going to do that because I want to do this. So, yeah, we can do that later, whatever. But this is just, for positive criticism and analysis and not, anything against Gert because he's a good guy and you should subscribe to him. And if you don't, I'll eat you, because you're made of meat. All right. So let's go ahead and play this, and I'm probably gonna hide the video when he gets to he shows some gruesome images, and it's like I understand why, but it's just like I'm not gonna I don't want to. I already watched it once. I'm not gonna watch it again. So here we go.
If I see a contradiction or inconsistency in my opinions, I reevaluate and try to correct them. Which brings me to the topic of veganism. But before I get into it, let me clarify a few things. I am not a vegan. I am not preaching or looking down on other non-vegans. This video is simply me giving my opinion. With that out of the way, here we go. Why is it when an exotic animal like a lion gets hunted and killed, or when a dog gets tortured to death, I feel so enraged? Yet
Well, I can't tell you why you feel that way, but what I can do is explain that the exotic animal is something that is exotic. It's unusual. It's usually protected. It is not something that we typically eat for food, and so the other problem with hunting for trophy is that's the whole point is it's simply done for the trophy. It's not done for meat or the skin or anything else. It's just done to prove something, I guess, to yourself or others and be like, look what I did. I was able to shoot an animal. Well, la di da. That's not really a sport. I mean, it'd be more of a sport if like it was, running after him and trapping him with a spear or I don't know, but it's a animal um not built, if you will, for hunting. I suppose we could breed animals specifically to be hunted, and then those animals would be not exotic, or they could be exotic, and then those that wanted to would hunt them, but they might be hunting them purely for the fact that they are exotic or rare, and that adds something to the quote thrill end quote of it. I don't know. I'd have to interview those people, or whatever. As far as dogs or other animals being abused, any animal being abused could upset us. What I think that question doesn't go far enough is um, what about insects? Do we get upset at somebody torturing an insect? Are we going to get upset at kids, that burn ants with magnifying glasses or pull apart the legs off a spider? Probably, maybe we should. I don't know how many bugs I've killed, but I don't torture them. I just smush them and that's it. And it's yucky, but that's it. And I don't think much of it. I suppose that torture of anything is something that we find as abhorrent and useless because it doesn't serve any function.
Yet I have no problems eating chicken, eggs, fish, or consuming dairy products like milk. Why does the thought of people hurting or killing animals bother me, yet I have no problems wearing a leather belt and shoes?
Again, can't speak for you. I can't answer these questions for you. I can only answer them for myself and broadly speaking, because we're far removed from the process involved. We're not the ones that are doing the process. We're not killing the animal and cleaning it and curing the hide and etc. Now there are people that do this, and they might have feelings about that going in, but then they get desensitized or what have you, or they view it as a ritual. They give honor to the creature that they've killed. They thank it and so on and so forth. There's many ways to go about it that would make you feel okay about it, but I think that the answer is, broadly speaking, we're just so far removed from the process that we don't really have to think about how we got to the end result.
Personally, I couldn't kill another animal, be it a cow, deer, or chicken, and I view others who kill these animals as possibly morally lacking. Yet, I have no problems with eating animals. How
Well, you might be able to kill the animal for yourself and clean it and so on. And the first time it might give you pause, or it might not. I remember I caught a fish from a fishery, and you had to hit its head. You had to smash its head. I thought that was a really bad way to kill it, and I felt really bad when I did it. And then the fish wasn't even that good, anyways. Uh, there's better ways to kill the fish that are more instant and more humane, if you will. And once it's dead, then it's food. I suppose even when it's alive, it's still food. So as far as this is I suppose empathy, and your own personal tastes on such things. I think I missed a bit here. I wanted to comment on.
another animal, be it a cow, deer, or chicken, and I view others who kill these animals as possibly morally lacking. Yet,
Well, it depends what ethical system they have. This is where I think that whenever we talk about morals, I think we should talk about ethics as well, because those ethics formulate the backbone to our morals, or at least hypothetically they should. Not everybody knows what their ethics are, or maybe even has examined that, or maybe even cares, or what have you. So there are several different ethical systems, and depending on which one you adhere to, will shape how you view your morals. And so, will that person that is killing the animal, well, they get paid to do that, and that might provide for their family. So is that immoral? Well, maybe they could get another job, or maybe that was the only job that there was, and it pays well because it's not a fun job. So, is that immoral? Well, no. It's something that they have to do because they need money. So, what about that makes them lacking of morals? It would be different, I suppose, if this was being, if they were killing animals just to do it and that was it. Then I think that you would have a stronger case. But you can't really speak for others. You can only really speak for yourself. I find this to be uh, unnecessary, or I don't like that, or it is against my morals to do that. And then to not view the other as also lacking morals, because they do have morals, they just have different morals. So trying to understand that um, helps us to cooperate and get along with each other. Whereas saying, "Well, that's, shame on you," or you're less than I am, there's a potentially dangerous route there. Not to lecture or anything, but at any rate, that's my thought on that.
Yet I have no problems with eating animals. How can I hate the actions of animal killers and abusers, yet consume their products? I feel like the needless suffering and death of animals is immoral, yet I never forego eating chicken tenders or eating ice cream. How is it that I don't seem to care?
Well, it's not useless because it's their use is that it's food. Chickens are like the number one creature in the planet right now. They outnumber everything else. I think it's not even, it's like 10 to 1 for humans or something like that. It's crazy how many chickens there are. And they're not, so they're not, therefore they're not being just killed for the sake of it, or killed for, some sacrifice to some deity, or something of that nature. They're becoming food. Ice cream uh doesn't require any death at all. So you know I suppose you might not be comfortable with how the cows might be treated, but the thing is, I'll get to the humane treatment of animals as we get to that in the video. Um, so
I feel like this is cognitive dissonance, and that bothers me. As far as I can tell, this is being logically and morally inconsistent. Don't get me wrong, if I were stranded on an island, I believe I would be 100% justified in killing animals to survive. But here's the thing, their death wouldn't be needless, it would be to my survival. In such a case, there is no cognitive dissonance. The main word I'm looking at is needless.
ah well, you need to eat. We all do, to survive. And the question is, well, do I need to eat this thing to survive? Well, no. You could eat a number of things, but we are what we are. We are carnivorous. We're, we can eat meat and veggies. We're built for both. So that's what our bodies want to do. Whether or not that's something that we're comfortable with another story. I don't think it's needless in that sense of, I don't need to do this. Well, I guess not. I guess you could live on minerals for the most part. Although I don't think you could do a pure mineral diet. I think you'd have to throw in something else to survive. But if you really didn't want to kill anything, because plants are alive as well, who says that they don't have feelings when they get picked from the ground and tortured as we tear off their skin? um, and if there's this joke, if trees screamed, would we still chop them down? And of course, the punchline is we would if they screamed all the time. So I don't know that it's needless in that they're here, they so consuming them is what we do. So it's a need that we have being fulfilled.
I live in a country where fruits, vegetables, nuts, and mock meats abound. Therefore, if I eat animal products, I'm contributing to their needless death. Whereas if I were in a jungle or in a country where it was eat or be eaten, it wouldn't be needless.
Well, the meat also abounds. So I get what he's going for, is that I don't have to do this. Well, that's true. You don't have to. You have the luxury to do a different way. But this is something that I thought of and I wanted to bring up now is let's imagine a scenario where all of us said, you know what, you're right. We need to all stop eating meat. We need to eat just vegetables and fruit and just shut it down. Like I said, chickens are the number one creature on this planet, like in terms of how many there are. And then cows and all the other creatures that have been bred for meat. What happens to all of them? What do we do with them? How do we get rid of them? Uh, we can't release them to the wild. They won't survive. So now what? We have this unsolved problem. There's nowhere to put them. Are we going to, spend millions and billions on their care until they die of old age? I mean, I guess, but where are we going to do that? Where are we going to put them? So, yes, if we did it instantly, we would actually cause a problem. If we did it gradually, like, slow down and, stop producing more beef and chicken for us as we slowly stop eating it, and then at some point we would eat our way through it. But then that means, in our lifetime we're still going to be eating meat until they're all gone, say. So, in that case, veganism only becomes coherent if we eat all the things that are edible that we have made edible until they're all gone. Yeah, yeah.
I hope I'm making sense. What bothers me is the fact that my eating of bacon and cheese doesn't actually bother me. Yet, when I get philosophical and think critically, it actually does bother me. I see my inconsistency. Part of me wishes I could just say, oh well, it is what it is, but I can't. And veganism is something I've been flirting with for many years because I do feel like it's morally right to not contribute to or participate in the needless deaths of animals. Yet, for whatever reason, I still don't feel bad for eating meat. But I think most of us become enraged when we hear about people mistreating and abusing dogs.
um, because we don't consume dogs. They're not bred for consumption for a number of reasons. There's not very much meat on them, and they're not that big. Hypothetically, I've bred dogs to be very large and have a lot of meat, but pound for pound, the cow is still going to win out on that. The places where dogs are consumed more often, they might not see the mistreatment of dogs as much of a concern or any concern. It depends. It depends on the ethics. It depends on the system that you have. But what you're referring to is the treatment of animals in animal factories and on farms and so on. The problem is that the references that you're going to be using for this mistreatment come from sources that I would be skeptical of. PETA is not something I trust for a number of reasons. Now, they have actually killed a lot of animals themselves because they get the animal, they save it, and then they find that nobody wants to adopt it, and so they put it down. So it doesn't become food or it isn't anything. It's just killed, and so isn't that needless? I mean, you saved it just so that you could kill it. What was the point of that? And then their whole thing, the whole point of their existence is to protect animals. So they're going to cherry pick the bad parts of industry to display. Not every industry works this way as far as mistreatment goes. It makes the news because it's rare. The times when industry is behaving itself doesn't make the news. It's not worth reporting. Hey, here's another factory that's being really nice to its animals. Who cares? That's boring. That's not a story. So you get biased reporting because the only reports are the ones that are noticed. Like, this is a big deal when they mistreat the animals. Not only is it unnecessary for them to do so, but it also expends energy that they could better use in a different way. This has been shown many times. There, videos of people dragging around a calf or whatever, and if you just treat it nicely, it will go where you want. Broadly speaking, so by abusing these animals, they're actually, in a sense, abusing themselves. They're eating energy that they don't need. um but if that comes to light, then yes, you act, the people that did it, the people that allowed it to be done, and you shut that down. And there are advocacy groups for humane treatment of animals in farms, and there's plenty of farms that treat their animals well and better. And in fact, there's a monetary incentive to do so, because if you treat your animals better, you have better product. And if you have better product, then that sells better than the other guy's product. So there you go. You can buy from those factories and farms that are doing the right thing. Maybe you've investigated it, you've researched into it, you've looked into it, and you found, what their practices are that you agree with, and so you can vote with your money, so to speak.
And I think a great number of us get annoyed at least, or furious at most, when we hear of rich people hunting down and killing exotic animals. Yet look at us, eating animals.
Again, the exotic animal is not the same, because it's not it's hunting is different than eating. Hunting for sport is different than hunting to provide subsistence for yourself and your family. What if they were hunting the exotic animals to eat? Well, okay, a little bit better, but then they're still exotic, and they're exotic because they're rare, and so they shouldn't be doing that because they're rare. So if they were bred to be hunted or something of that nature, then it'd probably be less irritating. But it seems like a problem with hunting rather than the product of eating. Um, they're two separate categories. They're similar, but they are separate. So I don't agree with hunting at all. I just don't understand it. I don't see why. Well, it is something in our genes to some extent, I suppose, because we were hunter gatherers for a long time. So, but unless you're doing it for food, I don't see the point. But then there are other ways to get food, and so why do that? Mm. But it's kind of a tangential point. Why do I not like this, but I like this? Well, the two things are different, and it's important to notice those differences, and that explains perhaps why we feel differently about the things, because they are different.
Some years ago, I watched The Amazing Atheist talk about how he thinks farmers should be able to have sex with pigs. Because if farmers can fatten the pigs up and then slaughter them, why not have sex with them too?
An amazing atheist has said many things that are wacky, because humans having doing anything with animals that are not humans is a great risk for the health of the individual and as the species as a whole, because we will get and have gotten really weird diseases by doing that. It's not even the same ballpark. Uh, the rumor I remember way back. I don't know if it was ever confirmed on how AIDS got started with somebody having shenanigans with a monkey of some sort. I don't know if that was ever confirmed, but that was one of the ideas of how it started. Um, well, maybe it did. I don't know. But yeah, you shouldn't do that because that act is unnecessary and unsafe for you. Um, and I don't imagine the animal really gets anything from it. And then you can go into consent. If a creature is able to consent, then great. Yes, you can have sex with it. But the animal doesn't speak your language, so it can't consent. Therefore, uh, having sex with it is always going to be rape, and that's illegal. Therefore, don't do that in that reason. And again, the health concerns are the I think the primary reason why one ought to not have sex with other animals that are not humans. And of course, even having sex with humans can get diseases going and spread around. So we have to be careful there too. But we don't want to add to that insanity by also doing it with things. You don't know where that's been. Do you? I mean, did you raise the pig your entire life so you know where that pig's been and who that pig's been with? And maybe, oh man, that could be a reality show. No, don't do that. Still a bad idea.
Obviously, the thought is appalling, but to me, his logic is consistent. If we can brutally slaughter animals, why not have sex with them? To be consistent, I say we can either have sex and kill them, or no to both horrible acts. Why is it okay to fatten up and torture pigs to death, but it's not okay to have sex with them?
Well, it's not okay to torture anything. Torture is, by definition, is just doing something to harm. With no the point is to harm in torture. So are we actually? And this is a kind of a loaded question because it assumes that we are indeed torturing the pigs to death. So why is it okay to torture pigs to death? It's not okay to torture anything to death. Is it okay to fatten them up and then kill them? Well, I mean, they're going to be eaten, so I suppose that is okay in the sense that it provides subsistence for people because people eat that. So does that make it okay? Well, it makes it something that we do. It's hard to say that it's okay or not okay in my ethical system. Um, but again, this is you're examining your own ideas and feelings, and that's fine. But I'm pointing out that uh, you're assuming torture, and that shouldn't be um, done. And as far as the sex, that's completely different, and it's something that we would consider as a red herring if this was an argumentation.
What makes one worse than the other? Now, before I continue, I want to give a warning. In the background of this video, I'm going to play footage of what goes on in factory farmhouses. It's extremely violent and brutal. My intention is not to manipulate.
Yeah, I'm not. So this is the part where I'm just gonna be playing the video. Yeah.
Your emotions, but to give you an idea of what
All
I'm
right.
talking
Let's
about
see.
in this video. These animals
Um.
are not just put to death, they literally suffer first and then are put to death.
Right. Okay. So again, these are images and videos from the places that have been exposed as doing the bad harm. These are known because they're documented, so we know when and where it happened. We know who did it, And those people have probably already been punished in some way by money or, well, that's the main thing is fines and so on. And probably people got fired and so on and so forth. So, although, yes, it's bad, well, it's bad when people behave badly. Is that the fault of who's that the fault of? Well, it's the fault of the people, unless the people above them told them to do it. And in that case, yeah, that's where the fault lies. I'm wondering if there's a way to just share the audio. Let's find out. Let me see here. Okay, share audio, and yeah, that's unfortunate.
Now, with that out of the way, let me.
Oh man. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just do this. Here we go. Yeah. I got it. I know. I got a solution. Don't worry. Don't worry, friends. I know how to fix this. No. Oh, yeah. This is my solution. Okay.
Propose a thought experiment.
Let's say that doesn't work.
A cow and a fish.
It doesn't work. Darn it. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, I know I'm bad. Let's see. Okay, that's the. Oh, there's got to be a way to do it. Wait, what if I minimize it? Would that work? There might not be a way to do this. Let's see. What if I? What's that? No, pain. Dang it. Can I make myself bigger? No, that just erases it. Dang it. No. Bang. Okay, well, you know what? Oh, can I make it louder? Yes, I can make it louder. Sorry about that. But I can't hide the video. So, don't watch the right side of my screen if you don't want to see it, I guess. Dang it. I already saw it once. I don't want to see it again.
Eating grass. Now let's say the owners of said cow went up to it and started to beat it to death. They punched it, hit it with bats, and eventually killed it. I think we would all be appalled by such an act. But how many of us will eat a burger without a second thought?
Because not all cows are having this happen to them. The ones in the video, again, this is the reported incidents that are unnecessary and cruel because they've been discovered and found out. It doesn't mean that everybody's doing it this way.
Some would argue, well, we have to be humane. We shouldn't just torture animals, but a quick death is okay. Okay, so allow me to change the thought experiment to the following. Let's say there was a cow in a field eating grass. Now let's say owners went up to the cow and shot it square between the eyes and it died instantly.
Also of note is, how do I know, or you know, that this is not being set up? That the film in question is not complete fabrication of certain interested parties that want people to give them money. I'm just saying, how do you know it's not faked? So.
Okay, how is this still justifiable? Wouldn't we all still be outraged by this act? Personally, I would be. Sure, the cow wasn't tortured, but it still died in cold blood for no sufficient reason. How is my taste for salty, well-seasoned meat justified?
Because your body wants it. I mean, that's really the only justification I suppose we need is this is how we have evolved. It's just it's human nature, I suppose. I again, looking for an emotional reason, so I can't really give you that. So, all right.
In my video, Islamic Violence on Animals, I showed footage of animals being brutally slaughtered in the name of Allah. It's appalling, and it was one of the hardest videos I've had to make due to the heartless murder of defenseless animals. But
Yeah, and there it's being used. They're doing that purely to as a ritual. They're not. I don't think they're not eating it. And so, yes, there is a good argument to be made against the religious practices coming into play for food. This happens for Judaism and Islam, and perhaps others. There are special people assigned to come in to make sure that the thing is being prepared in the kosher way, or in, I forget what the Islamic term is, but there's people that come in and watch and make sure that the animals are being prepared the certain way, that they're being cut the certain way, and whatever. And those ways are not good ways to kill the animals because they're rather old fashioned, because it was written a long time ago. The adherence to the tradition is seen as part of the religion, and so they pay for that. The religion is paying for it, and I guess it's up to people to accept that or not, or buy it or not. I don't know that, then you get into the question of, legality. Could we make that illegal? Probably not. Halal. Yeah, that's the term for the Islam version of preparing the foods, I guess. Okay, and then when it's not sanctioned, it's haram. When it's sanctioned, it's halal. There you go. So, information, yeah. We should be like, well, we can't, and oh yeah, that is another part. Although he didn't go into the environmental impact, he could have. There's still an environmental impact if we eat nothing but fruits and vegetables. So it's just a question of how we're going to impact the environment. So we're going to impact it one way or the other. It's just a matter of how we're going to do it, and doing it wisely. But yeah, the Islam treatment of animals in that particular video that he did was brutal and unnecessary, because the only purpose it served was a ritual one. Unless they did eat it, but then they didn't really have to do all the stuff they did to eat it, did they? But they're doing it because of tradition. Okay.
But then it hit me. These Muslims are practically doing the same thing as factory farming. Did you know chickens have their beaks sawed off to prevent them from pecking at and messing up the machine equipment?
Not always. This is something that's practiced in some places and not in others. Now, I told Grr that he should check out the documentary from Morgan Spurlock, Super Size Me 2. And I would recommend it to everybody. It's a great, I love Morgan. But yeah, now, is it biased? Well, you have to decide for yourself. It might be. But Morgan, went into the chicken farming business and points out, yeah, there's problems in there. But the way that he treated his chickens was nice. He didn't do this to them, and you don't need to do this to them. And in fact, doing this might actually be more less cost efficient than not, and again, your product might suffer as a result. So there's arguments to be made against this that have nothing to do with morals. Bottom line is these companies care about money, so just don't support companies that do this.
Did you know they artificially inseminate cows, and these cows live in a constant state of pregnancy as a result, just to produce milk? And once they have their little ones are ripped away from them. Their babies then endure the same life as their mother, or are killed for meat. It's truly terrifying. How is it that I can shame Muslims for their awful practices of slaughtering animals for kurbanī? And how is it that I can shame factory farmhouses for how they heartlessly brutal and torture animals, yet once again, I have no problem supporting them by eating meat?
Again, two different things, but there are factories and farms that don't do that. So you can do some research and find those factories and farms. It's going to take some time, but if you want to continue to eat meat, then that's what you're going to have to do. By the way, if you decide I'm going to eat nothing but fruits and vegetables, then you might want to go ahead and investigate how the people are raising those fruits and vegetables. What if those people are also picking those fruits and vegetables using child labor? And, I mean, you don't know unless you investigate. So, if you're worried about somebody somewhere, or whether it's human or other animal being harmed, then yes, investigate so that you know that the thing is being treated well. Or I guess you could do a garden yourself and supply yourself with your own food that you need to eat. But then of course, well, where are you getting the seeds from? So better make sure that the person that's selling the seeds, well, now how deep does this rabbit hole go? Do I need to investigate the store that sold the seeds, as well as the people that packaged the seeds and the people that got the seeds? Maybe, if I'm that worried about it, possibly. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with doing that. It's just something that I'm too lazy to do that. But I guess um, you know yeah, so that's a good comment. Yeah, and unregulated places, then yes, other places no. And again, they don't have to do this. This is the thing, is that the monetary incentive is actually towards humane, because you get a better product and therefore you get more money and repeat customers. So
This cognitive dissonance is irritating me. I say this respectfully to my fellow meat eaters. Ethical vegans, in my opinion, are morally superior. I assume a few objections to this video will be something like this. Animals eat other animals, so why shouldn't we? My response to this argument: that's an appeal to nature fallacy. Because animals rape other animals, does that mean rape is okay?
animals do well. Jeez. The two things are not the same. And this gets close to the, well, and the lion isn't murdering the deer when they kill it. Well, no, because that's not what it is. If the animals cannot talk the same language as each other, I suppose on some level that can be seen as rape. And if the animals can speak the same language as each other, but yet force themselves on each other, then, well, yeah, that's rape, but that's the animal kingdom. They haven't developed the same sort of cognitive abilities that we have. And so to them, that's just how life is. And evolution has granted that it works for that particular species. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist anymore. So we might object, but that's placing human values on creatures that are not human. So those animals are not human. They're not at our level. They have different cognitive abilities. So if we could speak to them, it's like, why are you doing that? Well, I don't know. It's, but the two are very different things. So, oh, Paul, hey man, it's been a long time. Yeah, good to see you in chat. Okay, back to the video.
Obviously not. You see, carnivores have to
Oops.
eat animals, but we humans in a civilized world don't. We are not carnivores. Another possible
Wait. Yeah, we're not. We're the what are we? Are carnivorous, isn't it? It's not carnivore, herbivore. It's like omnivorous. There it is. Thank you. Omnivorous. Yeah, we're omnivores. All right. uh. Yeah, that Donald Duck, you know. But yeah.
objection. I don't personally kill other animals. When I buy meat, the act is already done. My response? Does that mean owning child pornography is okay? Because
Okay, that's a red herring. That is a red herring. Completely and totally different topic. So that would also require the logical fallacy of shifting the topic. The two are nothing alike at all. Not even close. Oh man. Yeah.
because you didn't rape any kids, the act is already done by the time you purchase the porn. Going by this logic, owning child porn is morally okay. But I would argue that it's not. You're actively contributing to and supporting the child porn industry. How is this morally justifiable? Another
Yeah. Nothing to say because I mean it's complete red herring. Although, wait a minute, you could make an argument that then you should pirate all the stuff. That way they're not getting money. And then, oh, no, that's bad too. Don't do that. No. It was a joke. I swear. No, wait, no. Okay, back to the video.
objection. Veganism isn't healthy. We need meat in our diets. This simply isn't true. Protein is in beans, nuts, legumes, seeds, and vegetables, albeit a smaller amount. Vitamins and minerals are all found in plants as well. And hell, even if vegans have to take vitamin B12 in supplemental form, guess what? Studies show that even meat eaters are low in B12. And get this, factory farmers feed cows B12. So you can either get the B12 secondhand from an animal who took the supplement, or, take the damn supplement yourself.
Okay, let's see. Where is my citation? Let's see. No. Okay, you said there was a study, but you didn't link it. Shame on you, Grr. You're supposed to link it. Where's the study that shows the thing that you said that it showed? Show me the study. Anyways. Also, of note, there, I have at least one, I guess you could say, anti-vegan guy that I've referred to people to. So I'm going to find that channel and put it in the description because I don't want to spend time searching for it right now. Where does B12 come from? It comes from animals. Oops.
Also, processed meat is a class 1 carcinogenic, which is the same class as smoking tobacco. But even if eating meat was healthy, or if a plant-based
Okay, class 1 carcinogenic. Class 1 carcinogenic. What is that? Let's see. Okay, carcinogenic to humans. Let's see. Oh my. Let's see. Many known or suspected carcinogens appear on both organization lists. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Alcohol, acid, antifloxins, aluminum, nuts, Ariel, nut, Atrocook, some, I can't even say this. Oh wait, why am I not showing the screen while I'm looking at this? Hold on. Okay, there's that. Okay, let's make that bigger. Wee. Okay, so let's see. All this stuff, more stuff. This can cut all this. This can don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do any of this. This is all bad. Bad. This can kill you. This is a thing. All of this, that's all bad. Yeah, all this. Okay, it goes on and on. The point is, yeah, lots of things can cause cancer. The question is how much you would have to consume for that to do that. Also, where was beef? If beef was on there, um, hmm, not on this list. It might be on a different list. So I don't know. But these are group one. So where was it? I don't know. But I didn't get a link to that. Grr, and just saying, you're gonna say something is true, and you need to cite your sources, please. So, okay. Um, just being a bit hard on him because I like him. If I didn't like him, I'd be very hard on him. Wait, what? Yeah, that's what I meant. That's okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it contains far less formaldehyde. Yeah, I would assume so.
Based vegan diet was as healthy as eating meat, the case remains. The needless deaths of animals for nothing more than taste is again, in my opinion, immoral as far as I can tell. Another objection you might have: I don't care about the deaths of animals. Whether it's healthy or not, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So I guess I have to talk about straw man. If you put out, well, you might have this objection. Anything that you say after that is going to be a straw man construct. You do not know what the objection will be, could be there. So I would just say my advice is not to do that at all. Don't bring forth what objection somebody might make. A better way to do this is to present objections that people have had. This is why frequently asked questions pages appear, for example. So this question has come up a lot, so we're going to answer it. So find some objections or questions again or whatever about veganism or what have you that have been asked, and say, well, here's a collection of questions that I curated from different places. Here's the places I got them, and there you go. Now I'm going to introduce that and say that this group of people have said this thing, and then I'm going to respond to that. That at least is not creating a potential straw man construct, because there's no way that we can determine what somebody's objection might be or is, and this one it's just kind of out there as far as a possible thing. It's like, I don't care. Yeah, so what? Now, me personally, I don't like dogs, stomp them flat, whatever. I don't care, kick them around. No, don't do that. Don't kick them. Just, don't go out of your way to hurt them. But also, screw dogs. But yeah, it's not that I don't care about the death of the animal. But I do like meat. And but that's the two things, like, they're not okay. I went on a tangent. I don't know how to get back from this. Just play the video.
I just like meat. To be fair, that's how I feel. It's the whole reason I've made this video. But here's the thing, that's not a solid argument. However, if you don't have a problem with people mistreating animals, abusing dogs, and you couldn't care less about animal cruelty in general, then I would say you don't have cognitive dissonance when you eat meat. However, if you do care about animal cruelty, yet you still eat meat, then in my opinion, you do have cognitive dissonance.
If you care about animal cruelty, as I said, you can investigate and make sure that the place that you're getting your meat from doesn't do that. And by and large, they don't. These are examples of places that went wrong. So those places went wrong. They were reported, hopefully corrected. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I would hope that they had been, but if they haven't been, then yes, be an advocacy group for that or whatever, or be part of the solution if you can be. There's ways to do this. And again, in Morgan Spurlock's Super Size Me 2, he goes into the chicken farming business, and the way that he raises the chickens is rather humane. And as a result of that, he gets really good product. Now, there are lots of questions to be asked about that. The chickens, they grow insanely fast because they've been bred to grow insanely fast. Many of the chickens die from heart attacks because their heart cannot keep up with the pace that they grow at. But we have decided, collectively speaking, that we want chickens and we want them now. We don't want them later. And making them grow faster means that they get killed faster, means that we get to eat them faster. And so that's what they're grown to, that's what they're made to do. We bred them for that specific purpose, and we didn't. Is that cruel? Possibly. Of course, there's also research into cloning of meat, and so you could support groups that are doing that and say, look, I want to still eat meat, but I'd rather eat cloned meat because then nothing is being mistreated to do that. And so here's ways you could support that. Anyways.
If you don't care about your cognitive dissonance, then I could use this argument for slavery. What if I said, oh, those slaves over there? I don't care. How would that be an argument for slavery? It simply isn't. It's a statement about feelings, not an argument. Another argument, well, maybe more of a thought, would be, what if you ate an animal that died of old age? To that I say, fine. The animal lived and died of natural causes.
All right. Well, I've got your solution. So we just make we breed animals to age really rapidly as they grow super fat and yummy. So they die from old age. By the way, there isn't an actual old age death. You don't die from being old. You die, as far as I know, that's not a thing. Your body, something goes wrong in your body, something shuts down, or you get a disease that your body can no longer fight, or something like that. It's like, well, he died from old age. He was 110. Well, no, he didn't die from old age. He died from, pneumonia or heart failure or, something like that. You don't just say, I've hit 200 and now I'm dead because I'm just too old to exist anymore. It just doesn't work like that. But you could get around this by simply genetically manipulating creatures to die of old age, and then this point goes out the window. So I suppose that could be a company. You could be like, hey, our animals die of old age naturally, the way God intended, by breeding them in such a way that we got animals that will die of old age quickly, but we've cloned our animals until the point they can no longer sustain themselves and they die faster than other animals. And then we eat them because we didn't really kill them, you see. Yeah.
It wasn't brutally slaughtered for me to eat, but since it did die, I would feel it would be morally okay to eat it. However, that's not the case 99.99% of the time. Most, if not all of the time, the animals you and I eat, or the products that come from animals like milk, eggs, and leather, all come about through the slaughter and torture of other animals. Now, this does lead me.
Well, again, that torture bit, that's assumed because, again, if you're picking only the times when torture has happened, then yes, it's going to seem like that's all that ever happens. But that's the exception, not the rule. Unless you could show that it was the rule, then that would be different. Hi, Grr. Grr's in chat. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. He corrected me. Old age as in not murdered or ripped apart. Right. Well, like I said, the way around that is just genetically is to breed animals that just grow old really, really fast. So what would be the difference then? Now I get that, this is emotional and your own ethics and all that, but I'm just finding workarounds for it.
Me to wonder, where would I, or where should we, draw the line? For example, if killing a cow is just as immoral as killing a dog or a cat, does it follow that killing bugs and rodents is immoral as well?
Well, again, dogs and cats are not typically bred to be meat. And if you're going to eat dog, and some places do, they might indeed begin breeding the dogs to be eaten. And at that point, they probably wouldn't see it as a problem. I think that it is a problem when they're not bred. The whole people that eat bat, for example. Well, I don't know that that's really where the damn thing came from, but bats are not bred to be eaten. So there's there might, if people are eating something, then there might be a business in breeding it so that there's more meat, it's healthier and safer for humans to eat. And so rather than eating the wild version that has not been cultivated, there might be some money to be made by breeding dogs or bats or what have you. Okay. Anyways, went on a little tangent again, and I think I missed the point that I was going to make. What was it?
As killing a dog or a cat, right. Does it follow that killing bugs and rodents is immoral as well?
No, screw bugs. Bugs that come near me die. That's what I do. And rodents that come in my house die. That's it. I mean, I guess you can trap them and then release them elsewhere, but that's up to you. And if you want to do that, I'm not sure that there's a way to capture cockroaches or ants and then set them free that are outside your house. However, I do know that chalk, like that you draw with on chalkboards, does seem to repel ants to some extent. So if you have ants and they're coming into your house, you draw a chalk outline around your house, and that should make them not want to come to your house. I don't know if it's super effective, but I have done it in the past, so I've seen that it works. I don't know how well it works on an ongoing basis, but I don't know why it works. It just does, and you can make little mazes for them. Like I drew a circle around an ant, and I was like, "Get out of that!" Ha 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 ha! And it did eventually, but it really didn't want to, so it messes with them. I don't know what it does, but and maybe that was mean to do. But yeah, I mean, if there's I suppose if you're worried about killing sentient creatures, then yeah, be worried about it and try to avoid it, and more power to you. But well, plants are also living. Maybe they don't feel pain, but how do we know? I mean, can we go? I've wondered this. Could somebody live on an all mineral diet? Because then that's killing absolutely nothing. You're eating rocks at that point, right? And no, there's proteins that you would miss if you were on an all mineral diet. And so you're going to have to get those proteins from somewhere. And that somewhere is inevitably something that was alive at some point. So it doesn't look like there's a way around killing something at somewhere. Uh, so that's a thing. But anyways, that's kind of a tangent. Where was I? Okay, back to the thing.
Well, I think killing mosquitoes and ticks is actually beneficial because they carry diseases. And if your garden or home has a rat problem, I would say it would be moral to kill them as well. In such a case, I would have to be shown that it's immoral. As I currently see it, it's not immoral. I leave you with this. How would you feel if dogs and cats had their genitals cut off? How would you feel if people hung them upside down?
Well, to be fair, dogs and cats do have their genitals cut off. Spade and neutering is that process. It's just that process is done in a humane way with vets and whatnot. And we should do it because we want to keep the population in check. As far as hanging them upside down, there's no reason to do that, as far as I know. And again, in this video of the animals being hung upside down, this might be one particular factory that does that. It might be that all factories do this. I do not know. There might be a reason that they're doing this is, they might have viewed it as more efficient, but it might actually be less efficient. But you can always vote with your wallet and not support factories that do it this way, and support the farms and factories that do it a better way. But yeah, I don't know why they're being hung upside down. I think that's probably so they can just get the neck cut the head off real quick and get it killed rapidly. So that's more of an argument against factory farms than anything else, or at least this particular one. So it isn't rare footage. Well, I would have to see the studies to show that this happens all the time in every factory everywhere. So
And slit their throats. How would you feel if they were dipped into boiling water? This is exactly what happens in factory farm slaughterhouses. How can you be upset about dog fighting rings, and how can you be upset about the mistreatment?
dog fighting rings are not the same. That is again a red herring. Um, Chicken fighting is also something that I would be against. But these are things where, and bear fighting. There's people that box bears. I'm against that. These are things that are done for amusement and entertainment, not to produce food. So they're different. Now, I suppose somebody might say, well, but if you breed the bears to be boxers, well, then maybe there's not a problem, and maybe there's an argument to be made there. It just depends upon your ethical system and a wide variety of parameters that would have to be examined. There's insect fighting, where kids will get insects and have them fight each other. So you know, it's a matter of if this is useful in sense of it serves a purpose, or and you could say it serves the purpose of entertainment, but you could object to it because it is something that is not producing that the benefit of the entertainment is something that we could get in some other way, or something like that. It's really hard, and I would challenge everyone to make a non-ethical / moral argument for or against any given thing. That's really tough to do. Um, to say, well, I don't like this and this is wrong, that's easy. But to say, well, why should we say no to dog fights? Not on an ethical or moral basis, not on a feeling basis, but provide a argumentation that is devoid of emotion to show that this is something that we don't need to do or doesn't need to happen. Maybe again, it's with the consent. Dogs can't consent to being boxers, unlike humans that can consent to being boxers. And, oops, okay. And, other animals, bears or whatever, cannot consent to being a boxer. So, for those reasons, we could object to it and say, well, they're not able to consent to being this thing. Therefore, we shouldn't put them in that situation. And I suppose you could say, well, they're not consenting to being killed and eaten, so therefore they shouldn't be killed and eaten. And then, of course, we just genetically breed the thing that consents to being killed and eaten. Like that, there's that thing in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that's like it wants to be eaten. So we just need to make that, I guess.
Treatment of animals when you, myself included, eat meat from factory farmhouses. If you witnessed a man brutally beating a dog or a pig, you would be outraged, wouldn't you? Yet again, if you eat meat, who are you to be outraged? So, to my fellow meat eaters, I see no way for us to morally justify the needless suffering and death of animals just because we like the way they taste. I'm not saying go vegan, but I am saying maybe, just maybe, we should consider, especially those of us who like being consistent in our worldview.
Well, again, I think that it is good to try to be consistent in the way that you view things and in how you feel about things and how you construct your ethics and how you map your morals to your ethics. I do think that more research needed to be presented to convince this jaded skeptic, because Grr said that the footage isn't rare footage. Well, I don't know that that's the case because I would have to know of every single factory farm and their practices. Does everybody do it this way? Um, and then that requires data collection, and you're going to have to get that data from a source that is not potentially tainted. Either you're going to have to go there in person and do it yourself, or hire people to do it. It's going to be very difficult. Data collection is extraordinarily difficult to do, and then you can make a good solid case for it. I think that if you want to make a moral ethical case, of course you're going to need to include your ethics, and that wasn't done here. But I think it's far more compelling to make a case for or against something without appealing to morals and ethics, because my ethical system is not it's utilitarian in broad brush strokes, but also there's some nuance to that. So your argument's not necessarily going to work on me, but I understand it, and I think that it's good to have these open conversations with each other and with ourselves, because in making this video, I'm speaking in a sense to Grr Mania / about Grr Mania, but about this particular video, and I'm exploring my own ideas as I do so. I'm saying, well, that's a good point, or maybe that point could have been better said, or well, what about this? Well, what about that? And ultimately, do I care? I guess I care to some extent, but I just don't care enough to do anything about it. And that's not good. But well, there's so many other things to focus on that I guess I just don't have room in my brain to do it. But everyone has the thing that they, can do. And you might become an advocate for better treatment of animals. And I would see that as a positive because there is no need to mistreat animals uh, to turn them into food. So, um, well, yeah, maybe. But at any rate, I think that this opens up discussion. And again, I'd love to talk to Gurr about this more, and he's going to watch this whole thing from the start and all that. And, this was not, to criticize him or anything like that, because I like Gurr. Go subscribe to him and like his videos and tell him that lobsters exist. Now, see, if you read the Lobsterist, it makes clear that you shouldn't eat lobsters. So he should support the Lobsterist. And if you don't, then that's bad. Although it does say something about killing turtles, but screw turtles. Turtles suck. Yeah. Anyways, okay, that's all I got for you today. Well, not necessarily. I might do something else today. You never know. I don't know. But that's it for this particular video. Thanks for listening, commenting, complaining, eating meat man, and all the things. I suppose if a human consented to being eaten, then yeah, I guess you could eat the human. But then, like, there's probably reasons that it's bad to eat humans. And what was the tangent that this is where I hit the button. Okay, hit the button. It's the end of the broadcast. What's the thing? Say the thing. All right, fine. So